Where the Crawdads Sing.
Is that's newer, right?
Yeah, so this was like on the bestseller, like New York Times bestseller list. So like, I just like Googled like what's a popular book,
Mm.
and it's like it was like on the charts for like 28 weeks or 30 weeks,
Hmm.
and it was like still number one. So I was just looking for like the new popular book for fun, um, and it's the Reese's Book Club. It has a seal. It says the Reese's Book Club seal, and that's Reese Witherspoon. Reese Witherspoon has like a book club, like Oprah's book club, and Reese Witherspoon is saying like this is the book to read.
She carries some clout.
I just think that it's great that Reese Witherspoon, another, I don't know, but it's by Delia Owens. I don't know anything about her. It's some lady, and the book is great.
Hmm.
Real good. Um, it starts off, and it's like a young girl, like 4 years old, 5 years old, and the very beginning is this image of her sitting on her front stoop, and they're in like the Carolinas, like in the bayou, like this marshy, outskirty kind of area.
Hmm.
So they're hillbillies, something like that. And so like they live in like a shack, and the opening scene is like her sitting on a stoop. Andy, get a drink.
We cut it.
No, we're fine. So the mother like leaves, and then there's like a succession of older children than this girl, and kind of one by one they start disappearing. And the father, they live somewhere where there's like a little boat, and most of their travel is on this boat. And then the father leaves. Everybody leaves, and there's like a 4 year old just like in this house. And she kind of has to learn how to like live. Like she's like trying to make grits. She's going off into the muck and like finding like mussels and like just trying to survive. Um, she ends up being able to make a little bit of money from like a little tackle shop that sells things. She's like scooping up these mussels, and she goes off, and um, the guy's name was like Jumpin', I think, black guy. Um, and she kind of forms a relationship with him, and the beginning of the book is just sort of this strange, isolated life of a girl growing up completely by herself, and her father like shows up every once in a while, and they like almost kind of have a good start to something. He ends up getting angry about something and leaving her again. So she has like these abandonment issues. There's like authorities that like know that there's possibly a girl, so like school like truant officers, and they're like showing up, and she's like learning how to be evasive. Um, she meets a little boy who finally she kind of gains trust with, and like years are going by. So now she's like 14, 15, 16 years old, illiterate, just out there like fishing, and I guess like crawdads are like, they keep saying in the book where the crawdads sing, and it means like in the wild. Um, so she ends up meeting one boy, and then he ends up having to leave for some reason. He was going to school, and she was real disappointed and felt rejected and abandoned again. then she meets another boy who was kind of part of this, like the crowd, like the kids in town, who would, whenever they were on boats, they would like see her and make fun of her. And he kind of starts approaching her, and he's handsy. She rebukes him, and then he comes back, and they kind of start a little thing. And the beginning of the book really reminded me of like Truman Capote, Harper Lee. So it's like Southern writing, kind of warm. Even though like the subject matter, like what she's going through, is like grim. The way in which the landscape and the environment is described is like inviting. Like you really interested in the marsh, and the author like goes into great detail about like kind of the inner workings of the marsh. The girl takes a great interest in all the things in the marsh. So she starts, she's like a collector. She starts like collecting feathers and collecting snails and shells, and like learning all about everything in the marsh. The first little boy that she met, who was sort of like this like sweetheart of a boy, was like bringing over his school books and teaching her how to read, and it was like real kind of nice. The second part, it's not two parts, but like the second half of the book, I kind of lost interest in. Like it turns into a murder mystery. And the book has like an annoying feature. Gosh, like you've done the entire ecology of this entire marsh, and like she starts having like more and more books coming out. She's a beauty. She's a beautiful girl, which is like, I was skeptical. Like, they're not describing her. I don't get the sense that she's like taking too many showers, that she's like gotten very, like that's what I think. It would have just worked fine. Like she doesn't have to be like some kind of sex symbol. This is what made me like kind of like the book. I kept thinking about Reese Witherspoon.
Naturally.
Because there's like this murder mystery. They're in the marsh. She's sort of like the suspect. The main character, the girl, is like suspected of like killing somebody. And I was thinking about Legally Blonde. And as I'm reading it, I'm going like, this Reese Witherspoon, like she's gonna make this into a movie. She's gonna be the girl, and this is gonna be Legally Blonde down at the bayou, down at the marsh. And I'm like reading it, I'm getting like more and more annoyed. Like at the end of Legally Blonde, you know the movie?
No.
It's good. The story of Legally Blonde is Reese Witherspoon plays this character who's like really good looking, extremely vain, has to wear all pink and have her hair all done. She has to like put on a show with how she looks. Gets into Harvard. Well, everyone judges her at Harvard because she looks and acts and does everything to present herself as a ditz.
Mm.
But she doesn't like that people think that she's a ditz, because she's really, really smart. And as it goes along, you kind of learn, like, well, don't judge me by my appearances. And at the end of the movie, she, like, solves this, like, trial with her knowledge of how perms work. So, because she is always getting herself fixed up, so she knows stuff about, like, the, like, beauty salon. And so towards the end, they're like, you said she had a perm, and it like solves the case. So I'm reading this book, and I'm like, if she somehow like solves this murder mystery with like her extensive knowledge of this stupid marsh, like I'm gonna be unhappy. Like, anyway, it didn't happen. So like what I thought was gonna happen something else happened, and it kind of had an interesting ending. But the reason that I liked it was because of how annoyed I was about Reese Witherspoon.
Do you think that's like a pen